If you're a parent in need of childcare, you know how difficult it is to find and afford. La Crosse County alone has lost more than 350 childcare businesses in the last 2 decades. Mike has been looking into this issue, which is impacting our local businesses as well.
Amy, this is not a new problem, but one the pandemic brought to the forefront and really showed the economic necessity of childcare. Workers are leaving the field in droves for jobs with benefits and better pay. And parents who need care are left with very few options, and the providers are struggling to keep their doors open.
Good job.
Kendall Snyder cherishes every moment with her 17-month-old son.
Onion, good job.
But like so many others, she's trying to balance being a mom with a full-time job.
As a working mom, I thought, well, gosh, you know, who's going to take care of my kid during the day? My husband works as well.
Kendall relocated to the area last summer for a neurosurgeon position at Mayo Clinic Health System in La Crosse.
In April of 2021, we were told that very likely nothing would be available until March of 2022.
But she was nearly forced to put off her new job before she even started.
I had a oh no moment. I might not be able to start work. You know, the idea of not being able to move forward with employment because you don't have childcare is terrifying.
What happened to Kendall isn't new. In 1998, there were 450 childcare businesses in La Crosse County. By 2015, that number had dropped to 200. And in 2021, there were just 92.
We're in a childcare crisis.
Experts say a big reason for the dramatic decrease is changes in regulatory and quality requirements for providers without the funding support.
I don't think anybody would argue that increasing the quality or the safety of childcare is a bad thing, but many of those changes came with increased costs to childcare centers.
Also at the root of the problem, money.
The economics of childcare are broken. While demand increases, the cost of childcare can't increase proportionately with that demand.
According to the Parenting Place in La Crosse, the average rate for childcare in this area is anywhere between $146 and $213 a week per child, depending on a number of different factors. Data collected and presented by Carl Green at the UW Extension also found the most prevalent jobs in the county do not pay a wage sufficient for a working family. In short, people are paying the majority of their salary to keep their kids in childcare so they can work.
We understand that childcare costs are very high for parents and that is really difficult to afford. But childcare providers are not getting rich by any means. The cost of providing quality care is very expensive.
Linda Meinking has owned Toddle and Daycare on St. Joseph Ridge for the past 33 years. She, like many of her fellow providers, is hanging on by a thread.
I believe it's the worst it's ever been.
She and her staff care for about 70 to 80 kids a day, from newborns to school age.
We have a 4-page waiting list. So, I mean, we take their name, but normally it's going to be a couple of years before they can get in.
Countywide, there were more than 1,100 children on waiting lists in September alone, with 68 open childcare positions. Linda's been trying to hire more staff for months, but hasn't had anyone apply. The average wage is just $10 to $12 an hour with no benefits.
Right now, if I lose one more staff person, I would have to close a classroom. We just don't have anybody. People think of us as babysitters, and we're never going to be recognized as professionals, and if that doesn't change, we're never going to be able to keep our businesses and our doors open.
Gonna get your nose.
Kendall was one of the fortunate ones. At the last minute, she was able to find a nanny to take care of their son in their home, something she knows isn't an option for everyone.
Our family overcame the issue. We did ultimately. That said, there was definitely a time that we had to reconsider.
The wider community started to notice, I would say, over about the last 5 years, as businesses in our community found it increasingly difficult to recruit and retain employees.
Most agree there isn't a single solution to this crisis, and the state is going to have to make some sort of investment.
I never understand why if they're 3 and they're in the public school, we have money for them. If they're 4 in the public school, we have money for them. But if they're 3 and 4 in a child care center, we don't have any dollars. Why is that?
We can't make childcare sustainable in the state of Wisconsin without a long-term funding solution.
Wisconsin's Secretary of the Department of Children and Families says coronavirus relief funds are helping the state get closer to that goal.
And we've got a program that we've built to help us achieve long-term funding. We just need lawmakers to get on board with that plan.
At the heart of this issue is arguably our greatest asset, and finding a solution only benefits everyone.
If we don't do something, we're not gonna make it.
So when long-term funding and sustainability is figured out, most agree one of the first things that needs to happen is to increase the pipeline of workers into this field with higher pay, benefits, and greater recognition for the role they play in educating our children. And there's also talk of working with businesses on ways that they can help support the costs of childcare with their employees.
It is expensive. All right, thank you, Mike.